Welcome back. The days feel to me like they're moving really quickly. How about you? Today we have a word, some events, a birthday or two, a song and a quote. So grab your favorite cuppa, settle in, and let's see what we have. Hi there, and welcome to This Day in History for October 16th. October 16th is the 289th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar, 290th in leap years, with 76 days remaining to the end of the year. The request for today's word is actually parer, so we'll talk about that first, go a little more deeply into its source, and then come back to it. Parer is a noun that means a knife with a small, sharp blade, or a mechanical device for paring vegetables or fruits, or one who pares binding leather to proper thickness for use. So, with parer being something or someone that pares, what does pare mean? Pare is a verb that means to trim off the outer edges or reduce something by cutting away excess. It may be used literally, as in peeling fruit, or figuratively, as in cutting down expenses or text. So, pare means to trim by cutting away the outer edges, as in she pared the apple before slicing it, or to reduce or diminish gradually, especially by small amounts, as in the company pared its workforce by 10%. A parer would be the device used for paring, especially as it relates to kitchen work, for example. A kitchen knife used for this purpose will have a short, sharp blade. And I suppose the device I always called a potato peeler could also be called a parer. There are several kinds of devices one might use to remove a thin layer of skin or peel from fruits or vegetables, but most of those have other names, with the short-bladed sharp knife being the one we would refer to as a parer, handy for such tasks as peeling, trimming, and precise cutting that require a high degree of control. It's held in the hand, and the short, sharp blade allows for intricate movements that a larger knife can't quite achieve. The word parer comes to us from the word pare, which comes to us from Old French, Latin before that, and from a Proto-Indo-European root word before that. I'm chuckling because spell check changed proto to photo. Poor spell check. First known use of the word pare is around 1300 and parer in the 1570s. Parer. Today's word parer was requested by YouTube viewer at Barrowcat. Thanks, Barrowcat. And if you have a word you'd like to see in this Word of the Day segment, drop it in the comments and we'll get it on the list. And with that, let's start with the birthday of Noah Webster, born October 16, 1758. If that name seems familiar, you might have heard of Webster's dictionary. Indeed, he was an English language spelling reformer. In addition to the dictionary, he wrote a book called The Blue-Backed Speller, from which generations of children have learned to spell. Noah Webster lived to the age of 84. I imagine Marie Antoinette loved being the Queen of France. She spent extravagantly and encouraged her husband, Louis XVI, to resist reform to the monarchy. I think she liked being the boss, wanted to keep being the boss. When informed that the peasantry were outraged because they didn't have any bread to eat, she is reported to have said, "Let them eat cake." Now, we've talked recently about the angry housewives and the bread riots, and given how that went, I don't think she really invited them in to eat cake, but it is a popular tale. Anyway, the populace were so displeased with the way things were that the monarchy was successfully abolished. In 1792, Louis XVI was executed in January of 1793. Marie Antoinette went on trial on October 14th, 1793, and on this day, October 16th, 1793, she was executed by guillotine. A famous American archaeological find, the Cardiff Giant, was discovered on October 16, 1869. Presented as a petrified man, the figure is 10 feet, 4.5 inches tall, and weighs nearly 1.5 tons. Turns out it was a hoax carved of limestone. You can actually still see the sedimentary layering in the stone. The fellow who engineered this hoax went to elaborate and expensive measures to pull it off, but it made him back all that money and more. The original Cardiff Giant figure currently resides at the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown, New York. There have been replicas made of the Cardiff Giant, and these replicas are on display in such venues as Marvin's Marvelous Mechanical Museum in Farmington Hills, Michigan, and the Fort Museum and Frontier Village in Fort Dodge, Iowa, and has also inspired a number of similar hoaxes. Now back to the Farmers Museum in Cooperstown. You might recognize the name of Cooperstown as being the home of the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum, and that's a lot of fun to visit. If you ever get up that way, you want to give yourself at least half a day to go through the museum, and then be sure to give yourself an extra day to go over to the Farmers Museum and see that Cardiff Giant. And be sure to ride the merry-go-round while you're there too. And don't forget to check out those museum gift shops. The Chinese Communists began what is known as the Long March on October 16, 1934. China detonated its first nuclear weapon on October 16, 1964. This is the birthday of singer-songwriter John Mayer, born October 16, 1977. When I came across his name in the research, right away I could hear his first album playing in my mind, Room for Squares. I came across a video of John Mayer playing backup for Leon Russell at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremony for Leon Russell. How dear. John Mayer's dad was a high school principal, his mother was an English teacher, and he's a middle child. Fun fact, John Mayer loves and collects watches. Who in the world would ever have guessed that these guys could be such charming watch nerds? He's had some physical health scares over the years, a heart issue as a teenager, ongoing anxiety issues, and vocal cord issues in 2011 and 2012. He still tours regularly, and you can check out his website for more information about that. In honor of John Mayer's birthday, today's song is No Such Thing. Co-written by John Mayer and Clay Cook and performed by John Mayer, No Such Thing was his debut single, the lead single from his first studio album, Room for Squares. Released in February of 2002, my introduction to this song and its album was that my daughter would play it as she got ready for work. Admittedly autobiographical, he asked permission to film the music video for this song at his high school alma mater, but they declined because the school administration felt that the lyrics were disparaging to the school. No Such Thing got to number 13 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on Billboard's U.S. Adult Alternative Songs list. No Such Thing by John Mayer, link in the description. How about that? Yesterday's quote was a quote about speaking or giving a presentation known as the tell-em method or the three-tell mechanism, and I got some great comments about that. One viewer mentioned that a company she'd worked for or with would spend 20 minutes telling the audience what they were going to tell them, and my thought was, yikes. It sounded like they didn't also know about this next piece of speaking advice that I got from a mentor back in the 1980s as I was getting ready to get up and give a report from a podium in front of some 200 or 300 people. People would sometimes get nervous when they had to make one of those presentations and either not speak clearly or ramble on about nothing in particular or become something of a class clown. So this mentor said, "Stand up and be seen, speak up and be heard, shut up and be appreciated." I did look up to see if this quote could be attributed to anyone in particular, and results were inconclusive, so I'm going to credit it to the guy I heard it from, Steve Thompson. I think he's gone on to the big microphone in the sky by now, but I've never forgotten that bit of advice. Stand up and be seen, speak up and be heard, shut up and be appreciated. Alrighty, y'all, take care. Be good to each other. I'll see you next time. And a hearty and grateful shout out to these lovely folks who've bought me a coffee. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to add your name to that list, there is a link in the description where you too can buy me a coffee. Alrighty. And I think that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for watching. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. Feel free to share this video with a link in your email, messaging, or social media. If you enjoy this series, you can check out the playlists in the description. You can find me on BitChute, Facebook, Odyssey, Rumble, YouTube, and X, as well as on a blog page called No Really. No Really. No Really. Consider following my Day in History page on Facebook if you're on Facebook. I also have a Patreon account now, or you can buy me a coffee. All those links are in the description. Alrighty, that's all I can think of right now. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.